on All In. Roger Stone faces justice as the president's intel chiefs face the Senate.
Donald Trump met privately with Vladimir Putin, and no one in the U.S. government has the full story about what was discussed.
Tonight, yet another revelation of a private, undisclosed Trump-Putin meeting.
Clearly, this is a sensitive issue.
Plus, new reporting suggesting Robert Mueller is not done with Roger Stone.
They know that they have to take me down in order to take Donald Trump down.
Then, as 2020 Democrats make their populist appeal,
let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
The billionaires bite back.
That's not correct. That's not American.
I'm a little bit tired of listening to the things that are pie in the sky.
Not one, but two big announcements for Stacey Abrams.
I promise you, we will get it done.
When All In starts right now. Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Just a few weeks after the revelation that the President of the United States was suspected by his own government of working on Russia's behalf, we're learning tonight about yet another undisclosed exchange the President had with Vladimir Putin. It was attended by no American note-takers, no American interpreters, just the President and Melania and Putin's own interpreter. As we've noted before, this is wildly out of step with the usual protocol. And if you were disposed to view it in the most stark and cynical terms, you might conclude that this is how the president meets with his handler. We knew the president had spoken briefly with Putin late last year at a dinner during the G20 summit in Argentina. Remember, the White House confirmed a, quote, informal conversation only after it was revealed by local press. But now, the Financial Times reports the encounter was longer and more substantive than we've been led to believe. Sources telling the FT the president was accompanied by Melania Trump, his wife, but no staff, while Putin was flanked by his translator. The four of them sat at a table and were among the last to leave. According to a Russian government official's account, the two leaders spoke for about 15 minutes about a number of foreign policy issues. That undisclosed exchange came after the president had canceled a formal meeting with Putin scheduled for the summit, citing a Russian attack on Ukraine's navy. Just before the canceling, the president had been implicated as individual one in court proceedings against Michael Cohen, which revealed that talks about a tower project in Moscow had lasted much later into the presidential campaign than was previously acknowledged. If the Financial Times story is accurate, then this meeting in Argentina was the second time the president and Putin had a private chat during a global summit, which was only exposed by independent reporting after the fact. The first was at the 2017 summit in Germany, where the president was caught on camera motioning, somewhat desperately almost, to Putin from across the dinner table. And that came just a few hours after the president seized his own interpreter's notes from his formal sit-down with Putin, according to the Washington Post. Then, of course, there was the one-on-one meeting in Helsinki, where the president had his own translator but no staff, while meeting with Putin for hours behind closed doors. The president's own director of national intelligence admitted he did not know what went on.
How do you have any idea what happened in that meeting?
Well, you're right. I don't know what happened in that meeting. I think as time goes by, and the president has already mentioned some things that happened in that meeting, I think we will learn more. But that is the president's prerogative. If he had asked me how that ought to be conducted, I would have suggested a different way.
Is there a risk that Vladimir Putin could have recorded it?
That risk is always there.
Asked about those meetings at a Senate Intelligence Committee hearing today, the DNI hinted his response was classified.